Mr Chairman, please can I introduce Mr Caulfield from Bank Warriors and Bank Reform Now.
Thank you. Morning, Mr Caulfield.
Good morning, Chair. Good morning, Directors. Thank you for having us here. I'm a founder of Bank Warriors and I'm a special advisor to Bank Reform Now. Together we have over 14,000 members and followers. I have a particular question. It does relate to AUSTRAC. I've got a genuine concern of Promontory's appointment to oversight Westpac's AUSTRAC failures. Myself and others have made requests to the Director and the CEO of Promontory here in Sydney to consider current and contemporary evidence of cover-up and malfeasance inside the Commonwealth Bank. The response I received after writing to Promontory 3 times came back from a senior executive inside the Commonwealth Bank. I was providing evidence against them. This is grossly inappropriate. Excuse me. How does this substandard treatment and culture by Promontory provide our followers, the shareholders here today, and the Australian community any confidence that Promontory's oversight of Westpac's AUSTRAC failures will be unimpeachable?
Thank you for the question. So obviously as Chairman of Westpac, I can't speak for Promontory. I'm not familiar with the matter to which you've just referred. The only thing that I can say is this: the Promontory have been chosen because they are a global expert on financial crime. And this is an area which is incredibly complex and it requires a deep understanding of how financial crime works and how banks need to interact with regulators and what can be reasonably expected of banks in that scenario. So that's what we have done. We've obviously done our own reference searches and they're all positive. So I'm sorry that you appear to have had a different experience, but we think from all the references we've done, they are the right firm for the job. Thank you.
Just in reference, can I just say, will disinfecting sunlight be shone on some of the responsible executives that date back to perhaps 2012, 13, 14, when a lot of these AUSTRAC failures started and were embedded? You know, we're seeing current executives, you've taken responsibility, but I suspect a lot of this goes back earlier when this started.
Yeah, thank you. It's a good question. The brief for Promontory is to provide assurance over the work that Westpac is doing to try and understand a few things. One is that the financial crime plan, strategic plan, which I referenced, which we now have, is that now, for want of a better expression, best in class? So have we actually nailed it now in terms of the way in which we're approaching the review of financial crime and all of our systems and controls and so on? So that's point one. But point two is also to have that informed by, well, what happened in the past? It obviously hasn't been at that case now, so go back over for us, or we will go back over and present that data and they will review and get more data and whatever and say, well, that's the reason why it's not been like that all the way through is for the following reasons. So a statement of facts as to what actually did happen, we hope to get out of the Promontory review. And that will then lead to the point that you've just made, which is, well, if we know the facts in that detail, then we should be able to identify who said what to whom, who didn't do what, and so on. And we cannot and would not try and prejudge that, but that is indeed exactly the exercise which we'll be going through.
So if you're going through that and you're talking about having the best standards, correct me if I'm wrong, but your clawback that is now in place goes back 4 years. Will you consider extending that to 7 years, where Macquarie has set that as a benchmark?
So this is for remuneration? Yeah, so
yes.
For remuneration for executives, we've just put in place a formal clawback piece, but that only starts as of 1 October 2019. What we do have, of course, is deferred LTI or STI, so deferred short-term variable pay or long-term variable pay. So that would still be able to be accessed. If we wanted to take any other action over and above that, that would be like any other organisation then having to sue a former employee. So we won't prejudge whether we need to get anywhere there, but that's the way in which that would work if we felt it was necessary.
You haven't mentioned the time that the clawback, albeit that it's coming in.
Yes.
Is it 4 years? Is that correct?
No, well, the clawback will be it will be unlimited. I think is the answer to that in the context.
That's great.
But it will start only as of 1st of October. Yeah.
Yeah, unlimited. I think we need some.
I think that's right. We'll just have to check on that
because I can't imagine that the you're going to be able to claw back,
Thank you.
vested or otherwise.
Thank you. I've just got a very helpful director here, the chair of the Remuneration Committee, who's telling me it is in fact 7 years. Yes, so 7 years is the answer.
Well, 7 years is a great benchmark. Thank you there. One more point. There's going to be 3 people appointed that, I'm not sure exactly, but work with Promontory. These people are going to be critical. I've written to Westpac to put 3 names up for you to consider. 1, Professor Alan Fells, 2, Professor Graham Samuel, and 3, former High Court Judge Michael Kirby. I think it's important that these 3 people are chosen that the community has great respect for.
I agree entirely. And just on that, we're not in a position to announce who the 3 people will be as of today, but we would hope to be in that position by next week, sometime next week. We're certainly talking to the 3 individuals that we think will be able to do the job for us and for you as investors and for others interested in the outcomes. And what we need there is people who have a deep understanding of governance, because the role of the independent expert panel will be to assess all the work done by Westpac, all the work done by Promontory, and then overlay their views as to, well, where did the board fit into this? What were the governance? Were there governance breakdowns here? If there were, where were they, over what time period, and so on. So we understand they need to be names that we can demonstrate to you, to our regulators, to everyone that they are of the quality that can do that work. And with the 3 names we have in mind, we think that is the case.
Thank you. I have some other questions later that are non-AUSTRAC. Thanks very much.
Thank you.